3, 2, 1. Hello everyone, T-Money here with some FFXIV news, courtesy of Gamerscape. This article written by Fusion X, based off an interview with GameIndustry.biz. Both these articles will be linked in the description below, so be sure to go to the respective articles and read both, and get all the information you need. That being said, I am just going to delve straight into the main juices of the content, and perhaps the most important thing to come out of that interview with GameIndustries.biz. This is the direct quote from Naoki Yoshida concerning free-to-play. That being said, if 80 or 90% of our players are demanding we go free-to-play, then we might need to look at shifting our business model. But we would also need to change our game's design to match that business model. It all depends on what the game design should be based on what our players' needs are. This is an interesting thing because free-to-play in an MMO is generally considered the death throes of an MMO. In fact, former FFXIV producer Hiromichi Tanaka, please do not butcher, please do not hate me if I butcher that name, but I can't pronounce it, obviously. And former online producer Sage Sundi put it best when talking with 4Gamer in 2009 before the game's original release. Sundi acknowledges that micropayment style MMORPGs are very popular at the moment, 2009. However, he says they don't tend to last long because of how much people end up staying. Tanaka says sometimes the average is, and this is again 2009, 4,000 and 5,000 yen per month, roughly 40 to 50 USD. And Sundi says that also means there are people who pay even more than that, and less, of course, and they don't want to see 14 have its lifespan shortened by something like that. So what does that mean? Well, I mean, if I'm paying $40 or $50 to stay competitive in an MMO in the raid scene or whatever, obviously I'm spending way too much money, because that is that is way too much money for me. And there's also people who are going to be after glamours and things like that. So microtransactions, they do work, but whether or not it's sustainable is the question. And for an MMO, it's not sustainable. Microtransactions are sustainable in Call of Duty-like games, other games that, you know, just it's nothing major. But in an MMO, you need a reason other than glim-glams to get people to pay for this stuff. And something that usually turns into pay to win, stupid rare stuff. It's not a good idea for an MMO. They tend to fail. They tend to start going downhill. WildStar, SWTOR, being two examples that come to mind. Both good games, but the moment they went free to play, kind of started ruining the game a little bit. Every time I try to pick up Star Wars The Old Republic again, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. It's just obvious that the things that needed to be maintained about the game are just not there right now. Moving on to the next point is, and WildStar, I don't know what it is about it. I just can't even get into that game, and I just don't know if it's just the love isn't there or what. But you can tell with a game like 14, the love is there and the information is there. Or not the information, but the effort is there. You know, and some would argue with patch 4.1 coming around being not a lot of content, that our subs aren't earning us anything anyway, so it should be free to play. No, that's some grade A bullshit. We don't know what's going on in Square Enix. We don't know what's, you know, I haven't checked on issues in Japan recently. They could have had an earthquake for all I know. That could have kept them from working. They could have people getting pulled off of 14 to work on other projects. 14 could be losing money for development to other projects because God knows how much money that they have to pull from other projects to relaunch ARR. So there's a lot of potential reasons for that. They're not, but reasons I would like to receive. but we shouldn't just outright say, oh, we need to go free to play because they're not even keeping up on with the promises and everything else. No, that's not the correct answer. Maybe our sub getting dropped down from, X amount of dollars to less amount of dollars. I think it's what, like 13, 14 bucks right now for a month. I'd like to see it maybe go down a bit. That would be nice, but that's going to also be dependent on if they're making enough money off the subs to drop it. Or it's going to be, we're losing subs, we need to get more people to sub, and we don't know how else to do it. Hey, let's, sorry. Let's make the subs cheaper so people are more likely to stay subbed. That's a good idea. That's a good reason. Saying, hey, we have a lot of subs, we can start dropping them and maintain and still be making profit. That works too. But comparatively, Naoki Yoshida should not consider free-to-play even if 80 or 90% of her players are demanding it, because I'd look at those 80 or 90% and ask them if they're on drugs. I mean, when a game that has been subscription-based, especially for as long as this one has been subscription-based almost uninterrupted since 1.0. There was a time in 1.0 they dropped it, but they were eventually able to support it again. And then, ever since then, it's been subscription-based. So, God, since 2.0, 3.0, and now into 4.0, that's what, 6 or 4? By the time a game like this goes free to play, that is its death throes. But take a look at it. Final Fantasy XI still got to pay a subscription to play. And that game has not seen an update in years, and people are still paying subscriptions for it. So obviously, people are willing to pay to keep things they want up. There are people who are willing to pay to keep 14's development cycle, everything else going. So, oh my god, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought again. So I do generally agree here with Fusion X that will we see a free-to-play 14 anytime soon? Probably not. It is going strong, and a move to free-to-play, if it ever does happen, I mean, just look at 11. It hasn't happened yet. After 15 years of operation, and we're more likely to see it at the end of a lifespan, which hopefully we won't see for anytime soon. Hopefully for at least 15 years. I want to at least get to, hopefully for at least another 10 years, maybe. And yeah, as they say, there is an end to an MMO's lifespan. WoW, I don't know what they do to keep it going, but they kept that game going forever. 11, once the story was over, it's like, all right, guys, do you want to write some new stuff? Like, what can we do? And everyone was like, we're out of ideas. Let's just end it. And they ended it, and they're not doing updates to it, but there's still people who are paying to play. So, that being said, I do not support a free-to-play model for 14, or realistically any MMO worth that's worth playing. I would support it if it was the end of the cycle, and they're saying, hey, it's the last year of the game, free to play for this year, as a thank you for all your support as a thank you for all your support over these years. I would love that. That would be cool. But at the end of the day, if they go free to play way too early, I would leave this game behind, because there's nothing in it for me at that point. It's literally dong, the death gong for this game if it goes free to play. I would leave, and I would not come back, because that is my no-go point at this point, because that means you're losing development and things like that. And in an MMO, once you start losing that development and that content, you're going to just start going the way of The Division. There's no good content. There's no reason to get the game. There's no reason to keep playing it, and that's the end of the discussion. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts? Do you think Final Fantasy XIV should go free to play? And if so, why? I want to hear a good reason why. If it's not a good reason, I'm just going to say you're wrong. And here's why. Go watch my video again. Do you think it's a bad idea to ever go free to play? And as always, if you liked what you saw, hit that like button, share it with your friends, share it with anyone who might be interested in this video. And as always, thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Team Money. We're out.